Hey gang, what's up? Welcome back here to another edition of Intuitive Angling, and much appreciated you guys taking a little time to check today's video out. And got a good one for you guys today. I'm going to share with you guys a lure and a technique that I catch a bunch of fish on in the summertime of the year, fishing rocks or riprap. This is a really good technique. Really sort of starts in late June, lasts all the way up until maybe late September. So I'm going to go over and give you guys a full little seminar and tutorial on that. So real quick guys, just a couple quick housekeeping tips here. Just wanted to remind everybody out there, if you're interested in booking an on the water lesson with me, you can do so by going to my Facebook page, Randy Blocker Professional Angler, and shoot me a private message. And also please take advantage of our Fish the Moment virtual lessons. We have them now where you guys can book a one-on-one Zoom call with me to go over any lake that you fish in the country that's not on our Fish the Moment lake map breakdown list, or just talk fishing, go over technique. And you can do that by going to fishthemoment.com link. I'll put that link in the description here too. Much appreciated. Okay guys, one of my favorite structures to fish is riprap or shallow rock. I love fishing riprap. It's like riprap is one of those structures that it gets a lot of fishing pressure, which I normally don't like, but bass use it heavily. It's like riprap is one, I would place riprap as one of the top 5 structures to catch bass off of in about any lake across the country. But the key to fishing riprap is you have got to understand the mood and the personality of the fish, and you've got to have the right lure and the right casting angle. That's what separates everybody, because everybody fishes riprap. It's like it's the most visible structure on a lake. It gets a lot of pressure. It's easy to fish because you don't have to fight docks or brush or something like that. You can just go down a straight stretch of rock. But the bass on riprap are extremely educated. They're highly educated. And one of the reasons that I like to fish riprap, it's about the only piece of structure that gets a lot of pressure that I do like to fish, is I really try to pay close attention to understand what is going to trigger those fish to bite, because bass will live on riprap 12 months out of the year, make no mistake about it, including the summertime. And these are highly smart fish, and you have to figure out what they want. So the bait, I want to show you guys a specific lure and technique today that I catch a bunch of fish on off of riprap. And first I'm going to show you the bait, explain it, and then I'm going to go into the ideal conditions for it. But the bait, guys, is that Megabass Flap Slap. This is a flat-sided crankbait. It looks just like a threadfin shad. I've been fishing this thing for years. I told Edwin Evers about it years ago. He almost won the Classic at Lake Guntersville on it. The biggest limit of fish I ever caught in a Bassmaster tournament was on a flap slap. This is a hog catching bait here. And a lot of people don't fish it in the summertime. They think since it's like a shad wrap type profile that's a good pre-spawn cold water crankbait, which it is. But guys, when that water gets hot, this is my favorite riprap shallow rock bank or shallow water lure for the summertime months of the year. Now, first of all, I'm gonna talk a little bit about first of all, I'll talk a little bit about how to set it up, and I'm gonna talk about how to approach the riprap and the rock. First of all, I fish it on fairly light line. I'll use the 10 to 12 pound test Seaguar and Vizex line. I usually fish it on that Megabass, the 110 special rod. It's you don't want to use a very stiff rod. You want to use a rod that's got some type of medium action. And you know, I usually fish it on a fairly fast stop and go retrieve. With 10 to 12 pound test Seaguar and Vizex on it, this bait is going to run probably at the very most 4 foot deep on a long cast. It doesn't get down real deep, so you're targeting that 3 to 4 foot zone. Okay, so what you need to look for as far as this particular lure doing good, most of it is about water clarity. Since most riprap is uniform, there's not really any secrets or keys to fishing the riprap as far as the areas. Now let me preface that. Obviously, any type of like a point on a riprap or irregular feature is going to be a high percentage area, but most of the time you could catch fish over any part of the riprap. It could be a point, it could be a straight stretch, whatever. But the key element, guys, like I was talking about, is water clarity. I have found that you need to have water clarity sort of in that 8-inch to maybe 15-inch zone for this to work. The flap slap, even though it is a finesse type crankbait, in the summertime, you're not going to catch many fish on it if the water visibility is like over 2 foot, because this bait simply doesn't run deep enough. So you need to target those areas that has off-colored rock or riprap watercolor on it. So ideally, if you could say, okay, Randy, what's your perfect water clarity to catch summertime fish on the flap slap, it would be about 12 inches. That's ideal with that. Now, the next thing with that is casting angles is really key. Most crankbait fish, and you guys hear me talk about a lot of, as far as you need to be hitting something on the bottom, this is one thing that's sort of not true with the flap slap. The flap slap, I catch a ton of fish on it when I'm just above the bottom, because this bait, sort of like a cross between a jerk bait and a crankbait. You can actually fish it just like a jerk bait, but the action and the profile of the lure and the lip design, it makes the bait unique in the fact that you don't have to be hitting something with it. Now, obviously, it may be a little bit better if you are, but you don't have to. I probably catch 75% of my fish off of riprap when I'm not hitting the rock on the flap slap in the summer, and maybe 25% on, when I'm hitting the bottom. But the situation with that is, since that bait only runs 3 or 4 feet deep, you're not going to be hitting a lot of riprap rock unless you're really tight to the bank. Now, that's another thing we're going to talk about. One of the keys to catching them on it in the summer is you got to parallel the bank, maybe just at a slight 60-degree angle or something like that. Not like straight on parallel, but you don't want to be at a 45-degree angle or specifically parallel. You want to get it where you're fairly tight to the bank. Most of the time, my boat is going to be anywhere between, say, 3 to 5 foot away from the rocks. Making long casts, trying to knock it down in that 1 to 3 foot of water is going to be the key. Now, conditions that you have can vary. It's like I've caught them in sunny, cloudy, windy, whatever. Ideally, if you guys would give me one set of scenarios, I would want to have a little bit of a wind, a little bit of breeze, maybe like a 10-mile-an-hour breeze, some type of a heavy, partly cloudy condition, not like a low light conditions, but I like to have some cloud in the air, in the sky. Summertime fishing, unless you're pitching and flipping into shade, is always going to be better if you got a little bit of cloud cover out there. That's going to be the ideal situation. And you don't really have to make long casts with this. If you're in water visibility that's 12 inches deep, you don't have to bomb these casts out a long way out there. You can make shorter casts and still target that area. But guys, give it a try. I'll put the Baitworks has a bunch of these. I'll put the Baitworks link for the flap slap in the description here. It's a good way to help the channel out. Get you a few of them and try it. Not just riprap, but rocky banks as well. Here, I'll give you guys a little piece of a little tip on this. If you're catching some fish on a square bill crankbait, say for example you're fishing up in the back of a creek or up in the river part of a lake, catching them on a square bill, you can catch those same fish on a flap slap. The flap slap and a square bill works hand in hand. Flap slap is not very weedless. You have to sort of get along the edge of the cover, but it still produces under the same conditions. So anyway, guys, one of my favorite baits Megabass has ever had. Color selection ranges widely. They've got a ton of different good colors, different shads, different crawdads, different perch patterns. You just have to really mix it up and see what the fish want that particular day. So hope it helps, guys. We'll see you.